Welcome to the England Rugby Pod. Thanks for downloading episode 109 as England take on Ireland in Dublin in their opening match of the 2019 Six Nations, a possible championship decider. You're listening to the England Rugby Pod, the rugby podcast that believes England will win the World Cup in 2019. Hey guys, welcome back. First of our Six Nations live matches, and obviously today is a big one. Not only is England up in their first match against Ireland, but of course that, we'll get onto it in a moment, but it could turn out to be a bit of a championship decider. We never know. I'm joined, of course, by Dan. Hi, mate.
Game day. So I'm putting it straight to you. Has Eddie picked the best possible team to beat the Irish?
Yeah, I think he has. I mean, we'll go through the team. There's one or two things that we probably want to talk about, but I don't feel like there's anything about the side he's picked where I'm thinking, what are you doing here, or why on earth is he not involved? So,
agreed.
I think given who's available to England right now, I think they've given themselves the best opportunity, and we may rue that if things go horribly wrong. But I feel positive. I feel positive given what we're looking at. But before we sort of start to dissect this England side and this upcoming match, quickly let's talk about last night's game, the first of this year's championship, France against Wales in Paris. Did you see it?
I've seen the highlights. I didn't see it live. So you and I, obviously, we were chatting about this morning. I think we've come from two different places as to where Wales are.
100%.
Although I did read a thing this morning that really pissed me off. Wales have forgotten how to lose.
I've got it written down. I've got it written down in front of me. Yeah. What a load of bollocks. Wales have forgotten how to lose. Wales didn't win the game. France lost it. France have forgotten how to win. I haven't seen the highlights. I watched the game live. I suspect the highlights, given the name, is not showing a true reflection of that match. Wales were awful, like terrible. And for the first half, France were massively in control of that game. I mean, in the first half alone, I think they left about 9 points on the field from boots, and that happens in matches. And Wales, I think, left one penalty out there. They left 9 points. They could have gone in at half time, 20 points, 25 points up. But they were in complete control, and Wales was just error after error after error. They never really looked like creating any opportunities. There was one break that would have been quite a tasty little try from Liam Williams, but he failed to ground it. They were poor, and in the second half, to say that France gifted them the tries, and don't get me wrong, a win's a win and you'll take it. And they'll take it and they'll go away. There's no way that Warren Gatland believes what he said in the media. I mean, that is media bollocks. He's gone in and said, you guys are incredibly lucky. You didn't deserve to win that game. And we've got to turn things around. Because it was terrible. And so, when we were chatting and you were saying, Wales is a bit more of a threat. To me, the only thing about watching that game last night that makes me think that Wales is more of a threat is the fact that they've got 3 points.
Mate, I think Wales are quite a good team.
Just not yesterday.
Well, clearly not, but I also think it is a sign of a good team if you're awful and you still win, even however that comes about.
You say that, but 100% Wales didn't win the game. Like, that the first try, George North just chasing up in a defensive capacity, and the ball goes loose and there's no one there, and he effectively just has to dive on it. I mean, he chose to pick it up first, but he could have just dived on it and slid over the line.
Sorry for you and EJ there.
Yeah, 100%. But so a gift under the posts didn't. Anybody could have done that. Obviously, you've got to take those opportunities when they're there, but it wasn't really an opportunity to take. It was just dive on the ball and you've got yourself 7 points. So lovely. We'll have one of them, and then obviously later on with his second try, the interception. I mean, you literally couldn't have made that simpler for him unless you'd walked the ball over, gift wrapped, handed it to him and said, on you go. So
that would have been simpler.
Marginally. So that was 14 points that really, against the run of play, offered nothing. France created opportunities and then scuppered them with stupid things like, they'd make a break and then the guy would go to pick the ball up at the base of the ruck for the next part of the phase and knock it on. Or, so I don't know. People say it a lot, and I'm sure, given that we are the England rugby pod, if it had been the other way, if it had been England in that position, we'd be talking about how great they are and how they don't know how to lose as well. But to me, that wasn't Wales not losing. That was France not winning, plain and simple. And I think that Wales, if they genuinely believe what they're saying, and they believe their own hype, they've got a huge amount to prove in their next game. And it's against Italy. So, they probably will certainly, shut some of us up with a massive scoreline. But I don't believe that the result yesterday is an indication that they're a threat. I think they've got a lot more to do. And unfortunately, the next time we're going to see them in a match, to be fair, a competitive match is against us. So we'll find out.
Down in Cardiff, I mean, I don't know, but either way, it's a shame. I wanted France to win that, actually.
I did. Obviously.
But, silly. But never mind. Enough. I'm sick of Wales.
But I think I actually think the important thing there is that, for me, France is the threat.
Did they look good?
Yeah, when they were playing well, they looked really good. And then obviously they threw the whole thing away. I mean, that first half, barring if they'd taken their points, which in the past is something they've been pretty good at, they would have had an incredibly commanding lead in that first half. And they were all over Wales. I think it was something like at half time, it was something like Wales had made 9 handling errors to France's 1, and in dreadful conditions. And it wasn't that they weren't sticking the ball up the jumpers and you're running. There was some beautiful offloads from the forwards, from the backs. The two halves coming together. They look really solid. So for me, France is the threat coming out of that game, despite the result.
Okay.
Hopefully, I won't regret saying it, but I genuinely, I think both England and Ireland are secretly smiling right now. However, that may not be the case at the end of the day.
Well, it won't be for the Irish,
exactly.
Who are. So we're playing against Ireland, and I kind of want to undermine them, but I've just got so much respect for that team. Don't get me wrong, I think we'll win. I do like the Irish anyway, but I've got so much respect for their team, for their players, for Joe Schmidt. It's a tough match today. I think what I'm worried about today is we don't play them at their own game. We don't get sucked into sort of, on the floor, sort of, making it too physical, but we give ourselves a chance to run and put the likes of Johnny May into some open space. That's what I'd love to see from us today.
I agree. You can't. I mean, you can't really play Ireland at their own game. They're very patient. They're
too good at it.
They're very clinical. But I don't think it's their. I'm not convinced that their game plan is to make teams play them their own way. I think the key against Ireland is to make them try and play the way that you're playing, because that's when they lose. I say they lose their way, but that's when you potentially create opportunities. I've got a good feeling going into today's game. Records, as we know, are there to be broken, and I feel like their home form is one of those records that's it's about time that England mix that up.
I'm with you, mate. I don't know why. I will always back England, but I've got a feeling. I think we're going to do it today. I really do.
I think there's an awful lot of expectation. There's an awful lot of hype. Lots of people not writing England off, but I mean, I saw 30-1. Obviously, it was one of these sort of things where you sign up and get a if you're a new customer, you get a special rate. But 30-1 on England to win. That's crazy. What? Crazy talk.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Yeah.
But I'm sure someone can tell me that, because I'm not a massive gambler, but I'm sure someone can tell me that it's stuff like that happens all the time, and it's all a marketing ploy just to get people in. But there's no way that.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. Yeah.
There's no way that's an accurate reflection of England's chances. But
because if I see that, I'm going to go and put. I never gamble, but I'm going to go put a tenner on if I see that.
A whole tenner.
I know.
Last of the big spenders.
And then the girls will get a nice slap-up meal tonight, should it come in.
Right, well, speaking of the girls, England women played Ireland.
Destroyed them, didn't they?
51-7, an 8-try thriller.
So, Red Roses are awesome.
Great work from them, setting the scene. Is England, are the men going to follow suit? That's the question. I'm guessing probably not. in terms of the scoreline, but results wise, I think that's what we're expecting. That's what we're hoping for, anyway. So
2 W's for the Rose.
Exactly. So let us turn then to the team.
So
you asked the question, was I happy? The answer was short and sweet, yes. But it does differ very slightly from what we predicted earlier in the week. So what are your thoughts on the differences?
So I actually like the fact he has kept faith with Daly at fullback. I think that shows that he wants Daly to be his World Cup fullback, because like you said last time, if you go to Brown, what message is that sending?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I have no things. I really like that. I really am looking forward to seeing Tuilagi at 12. I'm glad he didn't go Ford Farrell at 10-12. And I mean, the only thing that I don't think we saw was Cruz starting, but I get why. Launchbury's not been long back from injury. Cruz is playing well. He's a great player. I mean, we're spoiled for choice there, aren't we? So
awesome, foursome. We covered this a long time ago, and that's why it feels okay, because it's like, well, as long as he's got 3 of the 4 in the squad, in the 23, and all 4 of them in the wider squad, we're happy.
So I'm going to make a prediction, looking at the bench as well. I predict Ashton's going to come on and score the try to win us the match.
Really?
That's what I predict.
Interesting. I mean, that would send the cat amongst the pigeons in terms of our options on the wing and what we do going forwards, though, wouldn't it? Because obviously it's an area where we've got a lot of choice. You know, you've got Joe Cognisigo, who's obviously injured for today's game, but he's there saying, "Hang on, don't forget about me." You know, offering something a bit different, that physicality. You've got Johnny May, who just seems undroppable at the moment. You've got Jack Knoll, who you know, is becoming a bit of a utility player. And again, there was talk of how he would love to play 7. He's never going to be England's starting 7.
Let's cut that out, right, Leo.
Well, I don't think that's what anyone is actually saying. I think though what's interesting is that he you know, they talk about 6s and 7s being wing forwards, and he's kind of saying, he's taking it literally and saying, okay, I'll play on the wing, but I've been given the freedom to also get a little bit more involved in the game, as you would expect a flanker to. So get stuck into more rucks and mauls and things, and sort of play almost a floating role between the wing and the forward play, which could be very interesting to see that. You know, what we don't know is how, when they have a game plan, how structured it is. You know, are the wingers told this is your, you know, you might feel that the pull to be drawn into rucks and mauls, but you must stay out at all costs because that's our game plan today? Or are they often just given that freedom to roam? And I think he's been given a little bit more freedom for this game, and it'll be interesting to see what that kind of equates to. Because he's definitely a workhorse.
I don't think that's much difference to what he normally does. I think Eddie's just messing about with the media, that whole 7 thing. And it's quite smart, actually, because everyone's like, Eddie's so stupid, it's ridiculous. But it's taken all the pressure away from everyone, like from the team and everything. So and Eddie said in the interview, you know, sometimes you just got to have a laugh. So why people got so wound up by it, I really don't know.
I don't hate it. I mean, look, he's obviously not going to be, as we've said, he's not going to be England's 7, of course. But I don't hate the idea of trying to create a little bit more of a kind of, I don't know what the word is.
Hybrid type.
Yeah, that sort of, you know, he's on the wing for sure, but I guess it would be like picking a flanker on the wing because he's fast enough. You know, you wouldn't hate the idea.
there's still a job to do. Then, like, if we don't score a try because Jack Knowles at the bottom of the ruck rather than out wide and for
sure, absolutely. But I'm assuming that they go into if in fact he is being given this free roam role, which as you say we'll find out whether it was all media bullshit later on. But if he has been given that role, then of course they need a plan so that someone is covering when that happens. So when they see him go into a ruck or a maul, but that goes without saying anyway. I mean, backs get wrapped up in rucks and mauls all the time. You make a tackle and people pile in, you're at the bottom of it. You're not suddenly back out on your wing. So they know how to cover for that sort of stuff.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, it will be. It's going to be a brilliant game. I mean, typically they're low scoring. This fixture is typically low scoring. Yeah. But both sides are going to have to be clinical. I think that's probably one of the advantages that Ireland has over the last few years. Is that ability to be clinical for the 80 minutes. It's an error count. You've got to cut down on the errors, and discipline. Obviously mentioned last week. I think if England can be disciplined, if they can, not necessarily error free, but if they can avoid stupid, kind of pointless mistakes from just being kind of hot-headed, or just not having their head in the game properly, then I think it could be a very interesting game. And England want to get out there and they want to score tries. And whilst we know Ireland can do, that's perhaps not their game plan in the same way. They wait and they wait and they wait and they wait, and then they take the opportunity when it presents itself. I think England will go looking, and we've seen it before. If they go looking and they're clinical, then they'll find opportunities. They'll create. Yeah, I agree.
I will be. Yeah. I'm sorry, mate. Yeah. What will annoy me is if we don't take every point on offer. If we suddenly have a very kickable penalty and we're like, no, let's go for the corner. I think we need to take, against a team that good, I think you need to take every point on offer. And if we do that, and you're right, I think we will look to play a bit of rugby. If we do that, I think we'll win. If we don't take the points, if we try and get just a little bit too cocky or a bit above ourselves, then that's where I can see there being problems.
Agreed. I mean, I think England in Dublin, given the record there, not getting cocky and not taking points, it's almost like it's another. It's another, like I can't see it happening. At Twickenham, at Twickenham against Wales. Whilst I still don't want them to do it, and we're not against Wales at Twickenham this year, but you might half understand England having the arrogance to say no, we're going to go for the points. But I think in Dublin against Ireland, second best team in the world, potentially the best team in the world, one of the favourites for the World Cup. If points are available, you take them and you build a score, because it's what Ireland do. You build the score, you build the score, you build the score, and you trust that when gaps open in open play, gaps are created in open play. That's when you take your tries, opportunities, and that's what I'm hoping to see today. But who knows? Scoreline.
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
Scoreline. I won't go for that score. England by 6.
Interesting. Well, for the first time in England Rugby Pod history, I am going England, obviously, but I'm going to go with a lower scoreline than you. I'm going to go England by 3. I think it's going to be close. And who knows? Maybe it'll even be a drop goal to win it, or I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, England by 3. It's going to be a tight match, and it's probably going to be really stressful watching. And we will, keep everything crossed. But,
yes, it's I am so excited about this. Like the girls, I've sent the girls. They're going to the cinema, so I've got the place to myself. Watch the Scotland-Italy match. I'm not expecting fireworks there or anything classic, but just simmer. I'll be on a slow simmer, ready to boil over, come to start.
It's build up. It's build up, isn't it? It's 80 minutes of the build up, because ITV don't offer much in the way of build up. So it's 80 minutes of build up. It's an opportunity to see, whether Italy have got anything in the tank this year, and also to see how Scotland are getting on. But yeah, the big one is obviously later on. And given the result in yesterday's match, not the result, but given the performances, this is This is the big one. I think whoever wins this game wins the Six Nations.
I think that's a. I think a lot of people will be thinking along those lines. I don't think the Six Nations will be decided this weekend because I don't see anyone doing a Grand Slam.
You don't think what?
I don't think anyone will do a Grand Slam.
Well, I've already told you England aren't losing.
I know, but I think England will beat everyone but lose to Italy.
Is that what you think, is it?
By 45 points.
Don't place any bets off the back of Dan's suggestions, people. I advise against it anyway. Right, before we head off and leave you guys to prepare for this opening half, because as you know, we will be back at half-time for a quick half-time chat, and then again at the end to summarise how things panned out. I've got a quick 4-question quiz for you. But before I get into that quiz, I posted, some of you will be aware, but I posted last week's questions, or the questions from earlier this week, on Twitter to give other people an opportunity to try their luck, especially after Dan claimed it was an easy quiz. And I got to be honest, the results were surprising. I would say a good 50% of people got the answers wrong. On all questions, pretty much all questions. So Dan, that was not quite as simple as you thought. Apparently, when you're looking at Wikipedia and seeing the answers, they become much easier to know.
I've heard that before.
Yeah. So speaking of which, they also apparently they just change from time to time, don't they?
They did. This is not my fault. So I will have to put my hands up when I said the 2 players with most caps in Six Nations history. I said O'Gara and Parise. It's O'Driscoll and Parise. But I double checked that because I thought it was O'Driscoll, but the internet told me O'Gara. I went with that as it turns out.
You went to the old World Wide Web.
I did first time. That thing is amazing. You can search for all sorts of stuff.
Indeed. Well, let's move on to today's quiz. It's a nice short one, 4 questions. It should be quite straightforward. I will tell you because you're listening live. You're just answering the questions as we're going along. So I got it off the Children's BBC website. It was a link from the main BBC website. So it should be pretty straightforward. The first question: which two teams hold the joint most Six Nations Grand Slams?
So it has to be England. And England and France.
You're saying England and France. Question number 2. Which player holds the record for the most points scored in a single Six Nations game? Is it Maxime Machinot? Is it Johnny Sexton? Is it Johnny Wilkinson? Or is it Lee Halfpenny?
I think I saw this the other day. I'm going to say Johnny. So Johnny of Wilkinson.
So Johnny of the Wilkinson is what you're saying. Okay, question number 3. Which rivalry trophy was first presented in the 2007 Six Nations? The Millennium Trophy between England and Ireland, the Doddy Weir Cup between Scotland and Wales, the Calcutta Cup between England and Scotland, or the Giuseppe Garibaldi Trophy between France and Italy?
So it's not the Doddy Weir, because you said 2007, didn't you?
I said 2007.
So it's not that. It's not the Calcutta Cup. That's it. I'm going to say Giuseppe Garibaldi.
You're saying the Giuseppe Garibaldi Trophy between France and Italy. And finally, question number 4. What was significant about the 1973 Five Nations tournament? Every match ended in a draw. Scotland beat England for the first time in their history. Ireland won the tournament for a 3rd successive year. Or the tournament ended in a 5-way tie.
5-way tie.
5-way tie. Do you know that, or are you guessing?
I'm guessing, but it sort of half rings a bell. I don't know that for a fact, but I think when you said 5-way tie, I was like, oh, that rings a bell.
Fair enough. Right, quickly then through the answers before we leave you guys to crack a beer and engross yourself in the first half. So question number 1, the two teams hold the joint most Six Nations Grand Slams. You said England and France.
Oh, did you say Six Nations?
I did.
So this doesn't include Five Nations as well?
No, this is Six Nations.
So just since 2000?
Just since 2000.
Okay, well, in which case, can I change my answer?
Well, I mean, since there's no one around for me to get an unbiased ruling from, I'll say yes. But I think everyone out there knows that you were...
So it's Wales, and so Six Nations, Wales and England only have 2. Wales have 3, I believe. Wales and Ireland?
Wales and Ireland. And the correct answer is Wales and France. Ireland were 2009 and 2018. France 2002, 2004, 2010. Wales 2005, 2008, 2012. And England, as we covered last week, 2003 and 2016.
Well.
Scotland last did it in 1990.
Oh, bless them.
That obviously accounts for Five Nations too. Italy, sadly. Still waiting for their first one. Anyway, question number 2. Which player holds the record for most points scored in a single game? It was, of course, Johnny Wilkinson. And I'd like to tell you how many points it was, but I can't because I haven't got that information in front of me right now.
Cool. 2 out of 2 so far.
Yeah, well, yep. Well, I mean, you said Wales and Ireland in the first question. It was only worth 1 point, so sadly. It's 1 from 2, 50%. Question number 3 was the rivalry trophy, first presented in 2007, was, of course, the Giuseppe Garibaldi trophy between France and Italy. Some of you probably thinking that was a wild card made up. Who'd call a trophy Giuseppe Garibaldi? Turns out it's more than just a biscuit. And question number 4, what was significant about the 1973 Five Nations tournament? It was, of course, the tournament ended in a 5-way tie.
4 out of 4, mate. That's not bad.
Can you imagine? Where are you getting 4 out? You had 2 chances at the first question and you were wrong both times.
No, 4 out of 4, mate.
I think you lose a point because of that. You lose a point because of that, drawing everyone's attention to the fact 100%. There was...
I have now set the standard.
Stipulations. So we're taking a point away, 50%. Congratulations.
4 out of 4.
There you go. That's it. Short and sweet this week. I'll put it on Twitter at some point, and I would like to think that we'll see a good 80% plus. But who knows? Clearly, a lot of our Twitter followers are not listeners because we gave all the answers to the quiz and still a huge amount of wrong answers. So
I actually did Twitter myself and got them all wrong.
That does not surprise me. Right, guys. Thanks for joining us for our opener. We will be right back through the magic of media. But in fact, you will have watched the first half, and hopefully things will be looking good. I'm imagining it's going to be a pretty close half. I'm going to say England will have scored a try.
Come on, England! Come on, boys!
We will catch you after these anthems. Wow, what a half of rugby. So I'm joined, of course, Dan's still here with me. I'm a bit lost for words. Like, things are going... There's lots to talk about. Let's just start with... What are you thinking, Dan?
Yeah, there are lots to talk about. What am I thinking? Was that a try? I don't know.
Mako?
Well played, England. I think we are watching a test runner for World Cup final in about how long it is, 8-9 months' time.
It wouldn't be a bad thing, was it? I was saying, watching the game and saying this is going to be one of those games where you're on the edge of your seat for the full 80 minutes. And
it's good fun, isn't it? It's good for rugby.
I don't know, mate. With 2 minutes to go, anyone's going to be in it. But England are currently in charge. 7 points up, 17-10 to England, which is great. I have an issue with some of the decisions that are going against us right now. I know that people like to complain about these things, but it's a bit of a joke, in my opinion.
So I wanted to bring this up with you because, so don't get me wrong, there's a few things. Tom Curry's yellow card, I think, was fair enough. I actually do think he was a bit late. I think that was a yellow card. I think the Irish are blocking quite a lot and getting away with it. I think they're offside. I think they're offside a few times and getting away with it. And I don't think it changes the score, but I do think we have had, let's just say, the harsher rub of the green.
Yeah, let's hope that it's an even game and it's shared so that in the second half things go our way a little bit more because, it definitely felt like advantage Ireland in terms of the referee's decisions. And like even little things like going to the guy on the side, having a quick chat and then just making decisions instead of having a look. Like, I disagree with you about the Curry. I don't think the Curry's tackle was a yellow card. Maybe a penalty. I don't think it was a yellow card. And I think if they'd watched the replay, it certainly would have been more of a debate. I posted a video on Twitter. I quickly recorded it off the TV and posted it on Twitter. And, mixed reviews. Basically, if you're English, you agree he was fine. If you're not English, the decision is that they were correct. But it wasn't that late, actually. When you watch it back. If you watch the slow-mo, it seems late-ish.
Yeah, but
it wasn't that late, and it wasn't high, so I don't know what the problem was. Anyway, the decision was made. England dealing with it and dealing with it well.
Yeah,
looking back at what we discussed before the game and in earlier this week, we talked about concerns for Daly at fullback. I mean, concerns answered. Like he's playing brilliantly well.
Isn't he? He's been very good. That chip through for the try was absolute class. Some of the level of kicking. So Ireland are known to have this great kicking game. Some of England's kicking has been absolutely. It's been like my quiz earlier, 100%. It's been absolutely spot on.
I mean, let's not describe it as like your quiz earlier, because I think we're sending out mixed messages then.
What? 100%. That's what I think. Some of the chips through have been brilliant. Owen Farrell, if he's within distance of a kick, I think give it to him. It looks like he's wearing his kicking shoes today.
He has them on. They are tied tightly.
They are tightly.
Mate, it's been a great Test match so far. I hope it continues to be a great Test match because there's no question that this Ireland team is one of the best. And I think England want to beat the best. We don't want to come away. Yes, we want to win the game, and there's still a long way to go to make that happen. But we also want to win the game, and we want to come away saying, do you know what, we outplayed one of the best sides in the world. I don't want it to be excuses. And at the moment, great. We get to, if this was the full time, we'd be saying, despite the referee's every attempt to make it difficult for us, we still managed to do it. So we need a second half like that and just keep the pressure up. And I hope it continues to be a thrilling Test match, but obviously with a happy ending for us.
I love a happy ending.
I know you do.
But mate, we are outplaying them. England are the better team.
Can we talk for a minute about Mr. Manu Tuilagi?
The fright in white, do you mean?
I like it. He's been away from Six Nations duty since 2013, I think they said. It's like he never went away, isn't it?
I think he played a match, or he came on a sub in 2016. Manu Tuilagi is such a threat, and
that first try, as good as the guys were on the outside, that first try was built up initially by him. It was that pressure, sucking men in. It's those extra couple of steps. Billy does it, and it's one of the reasons why we all talk about how Billy's one of the best number 8s in the world, because he makes the contact. The tackler goes back a little bit in the contact, and then he gets that extra 2 or 3 steps, and that the time it takes during those steps to bring him down, and the forward momentum that it gives as the guys come in to clear out the ruck makes all the difference. And if you can shove that in the midfield as well, rather than getting stopped, either knocked backwards or stopped in your tracks, I think it makes all the difference to getting the forwards over the ball, getting quick ball back out, and giving you the opportunity to do the kind of stuff that Daly and May were able to do out in that wing for the opening try. Also, the hands have been pretty special. There's been a few occasions where I've seen passes and my initial reaction has been to go, what the fuck are you doing? And then it's like, oh, actually, that's what you're doing. You know exactly what you're doing, and it was awesome. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, those really quick hands where you're like, you're just you're throwing the ball. You're doing it without even thinking about what you're doing, and then you see that it was a perfect ball to hand, and you're like, no, you knew exactly what you were doing. It was just amazing. There's been some very good, very quick hands, and it's creating problems for the Irish defence.
I think our defence has been good. They're not punching holes through us.
Look, we did 10 minutes with a man in the bin, and Ireland scored, but we held our own. I'm really happy so far with the way that the guys are playing. Obviously, I hope that they continue to do it and step it up, because you always want to be stepping it up. But this is going to be a thriller of a test match.
What I just want to see now, and what I hope we do, even if we're like dead in front of a post, if it's not looking like a definite try, take a drop goal, take those 3 points. If we can score next, I think we can take this game away from Ireland.
Absolutely.
So I think if we score next, that is a hell of a long way to come back for Ireland, especially the way the English defence is looking. Mate, I'm enjoying this. This is good.
And what I said earlier about this being the championship decider, you still not think it might be?
It's whoever wins this is going to be a very hard team to beat.
Well, let's just say that's Dan agreeing with me, and this is the championship decider. Don't get me wrong. This is no disrespect to any of the other teams in the competition. I know there's a long way to go, and anything can happen. But right now, I've seen a first half of two top teams head to head. Putting everything into the game, and it's currently looking good for England, but anything can happen. I keep saying that. I don't. We talked about this in these episodes before. It's that half-time chat where hopefully it's this reaction that people like, but it's quite difficult to know what to say. You haven't really had time to digest it all, which is obviously what the midweek episodes are all about, as well as discussing the team for the next game. So we will be back with a full-time analysis, or if you can call it an analysis. But just very happy with how the boys are performing so far. So long may it continue.
Yeah, we need, come on boys, massive half. Let's take every point on offer, and let's put away the green machine.
Very good. All right, guys, we're going to leave you with a little bit of this and catch you at the beginning of the game. Yes, boys! What a fucking result! Did we ever have any doubts, Dan?
No, not really. It's a quick question. Is that the best we've seen England play under Eddie Jones?
I mean, it's certainly for a very long time. I mean, you've got to look back certainly to the unbeaten year to even find a comparison. But it's not about what happened 2 years ago. It's about what's happening now. And we're not far out from a World Cup, and that's setting down a marker, isn't it? That's saying, hang on, any doubters out there who decided that because we had a bad run of a few games, it was all over. Think back to our episodes and our various debates with a certain listener. We always said, boys, just give it time. They've learned some lessons. They're building. Let's not judge until we see how things have been turned around. And my God, have they turned things around?
That was just brilliant. The defence was immense. The play was immense. The kicking was awesome. There could have been loads of man of the matches. So I think at the end of the thing they said that perhaps Johnny May could be man of the match. I thought he was brilliant. To me, my man of the match was Manu. Like, I think Mako deserved it. I have no issue with that.
Yeah.
But I knew we were going to win when Manu absolutely buried Bundyaki. And
it was has Manu claimed the shirt? Because obviously before this, Tio was the first choice, and we've been saying for some time that we'd like to see Manu there. And I think had Tio been fit, we wouldn't have seen Manu. We'd have seen him come off the bench. I feel like he's claimed that shirt. I feel like he's saying, do you know what? This is a style that works for England. And I've got to put my hand up and say I've been massively against Henry Slade for some time. You and I have had very different opinions on this. He was immense today.
He's awesome. I told you. Why do you not listen to me?
I think that perhaps it's about the team around him, and today he got to play the kind of rugby that enables him to do what he does best. Fair play. He was immense today, and we love to change our minds based purely on what's happened in the last 80 minutes. And on that basis, I'm changing my mind, and I'm backing Henry Slade. So well played, sir. And apologies for any negativity that may have come your way from me. Not that you're listening, or are you?
He will. Slade always listens. Although I did hear his defence was practiced on his uncle's farm chasing sheep, which is how very Welsh of him.
I was going to say he's not Welsh, is he?
I will let that go.
I've got another apology. I have to apologise to the listeners for my negativity before the game. I only predicted England to win by 3, in very different style to my usual prediction of approximately 12 points, which is probably what I would have gone for if I wasn't being careful. Because what was the end result?
It was 32-20.
12 points. Bonus point win against the number 2 team in the world, the top team in the Northern Hemisphere on paper. Not only did they win, but they got a bonus point. Unreal.
And we denied them a bonus point as well.
We did. It was just brilliant. I mean, I to be honest, you predicted before the game that Chris Ashton was going to come on and score the winning try. And when he came on with whatever it was, sort of 9-10 minutes to go, I genuinely believed that he was going to score a try, and that was going to be the thing that clinched it. As it happens, Henry Slade did it with some impressive juggling. I'm sure there are plenty of circuses out there. It was awesome. It was awesome. Like you said before, it was just a fantastic performance from the entire 23, right the way across the board. Brian O'Driscoll said in commentary, it's almost impossible to pick a man of the match because so many England players were so good right across the board and for the full 80 minutes. That was a complete performance.
I think that's it. I thought Tom Curry was. I messaged you, didn't I? He's a gnarly little fucker, isn't he? And I love it. Like just small things. I don't like walk past Johnny Sexton for no reason, just pushes him. I'm like, what? There's no need. But I love it.
Yeah, I love the fact that just getting his head.
Just got that. And it's hard at the moment to analyse because we've been accused before of being the England cheerleaders. Well,
no, who would ever say that of the England rugby pod? Who would make such a heinous accusation of a podcast called the England Rugby Pod that believes England are going to win the World Cup, and I think says in their bio that they're totally biased? Who would think that?
I know, but today I was honestly when England scored, when Johnny May's kick and Slade scored that try. I was dancing like an absolute moron just round. You've seen me dance. You know how awful my dancing was.
Usually like an absolute moron.
Yeah, I was not holding back. Just dancing across the sitting room and doing a bit of the old robot mixed into...
the robot. Nice. Just quickly, Dan, I'm going to just bring you back down to earth for a minute get a little bit serious. We don't normally do... reviews and that sort of stuff in these episodes, particularly not midway through. But you'll remember Aaron Hayashi from our last episode, who's out in Southeast Asia at the moment travelling. He's already he's found some Wi-Fi in Vietnam, and he's found the time to message us. He says, "Thought we were outstanding tonight, guys. Watched it in Vietnam with a whole lot of Irish guys who were stunned. Back row balance of Curry, Wilson and Billy immense. Love the shape of this team. Now needs some consistency with them playing throughout this Six Nations." So
yes, Aaron, I agree, sir. I couldn't agree more.
And awesome that you're reaching out to us and no doubt telling all of your Irish friends who are watching about the England Rugby Pod.
And didn't I predict a 12-point win?
No.
Oh, okay.
I think it's 5 or 6 points, but
I did 6.
I thought 12. So
it was, mate. We are. Let's be honest. We are not going to do. I'm not saying we do great analysis anyway, but we are not going to do good analysis in this chat because I am still on such a high.
You're right. But let's talk about the Six Nations and moving forwards. I mean, England were second favourites for the Six Nations, according to one source that I found, and I think that was probably right on paper, despite the world rankings. They've got to be favourites to win the Six Nations now, right?
Yeah.
And let's talk Grand Slam, because this was the biggest hurdle, and they got a bonus point win, and not through lucky.
Irish.
Say again.
Sorry, I was just repeating exactly what you said. A bonus point win against the Irish. I must admit, I did not see that coming.
But in terms of answering the question,
yeah. Well, the Grand Slam's on. France at Twickenham, which it is at Twickenham.
Yeah, I mean, Wales is the big problem match. Scotland. I don't think it will be a problem, but we know what Scotland like to do to England.
We've got Scotland at Twickenham, and Scotland have a lot of injuries.
And they're not great away from home.
Yeah, I think if we can beat the French, I fancy us to beat the French at Twickenham.
Yeah.
I think our toughest match is Wales and Cardiff. But yeah, Grand Slam, of course Grand Slam's on.
I mean, I'm not just on. I mean, obviously it's on because we're unbeaten, but I think it's a serious. You know, I believe genuinely that England will do the Grand Slam. I think looking at Wales France last night, I just don't think either one of them would have coped with what England brought today, and it didn't feel like England just kind of had a lucky good game. It felt very organised and awesome at the same time. Do you know what I mean? Because I didn't think Ireland were that bad today either. I don't think that. I'm sure there'll be plenty of Irish fans that will say, because it's always easier to say you had a bad day at the office. But I didn't think they played that badly. And Brian O'Driscoll said exactly the same thing. He said it didn't feel like Ireland were that bad. It didn't feel like they were that far off. And actually, the scoreline, 20 points, probably flatters them slightly.
Yeah, 12 points.
20 points.
For them, yeah, sorry. So, yeah, I agree. I thought England were just superb today, and I completely agree with Aaron. I want to see continuity. I want to see that team. Manu and Slade in the centres, I love starting to like. Johnny May is just getting better and better. Jack Null is an absolute pain in the arse for the opposition. And Elliot Daly, I said Manu was the fright in white. Elliot Daly is the delight in white. He's just... I'm such a villain. He's just so...
You said it, my friend. No, mate, the boys are awesome. Every single one of them earned their shirt, and there's just no way that Eddie's changing anything. Is there?
Yeah. No, I don't think you can. I mean, like, Tom Curry, he should not be allowed to be that good, like, against such a strong Irish back row. And what is he, about 5, 6?
I think 7. I think they've had their 7th birthday recently.
They've just had their 7th. Oh, okay, cool. Well,
so practically an adult.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. He'll be going through puberty soon in 10 years or so. But he should not be allowed to be that good.
Mate, it was
I don't think you can change. What is there anything you would even consider?
I think let's say a Joe Cock and a Seeger is fit. Maybe you put him in for an Ashton on the basis that he gives you something different, whereas Ashton comes on
the bench. Yeah, possibly,
maybe Chris Ashton comes on and he replaces like for like. So maybe you would have him on the bench instead of Ashton, simply to give you that option of power. But England don't lack power without him. So I think the boys earned their shirts tonight, and I can't see there being any changes for Wales.
And for France?
Well, or for France.
Yeah, for France. So I completely agree. And also, don't forget, we had a try disallowed.
Oh, mate, so much went against us.
And we missed a few kicks. We left some points out there as well.
I think, to be fair, I don't think the try was. I think they were right. I think it was a double movement. I think bottom line was they were saying, was he using his legs to propel himself forwards? And I think the answer is yes. He had to. He was too far away to reach purely with an outstretched arm. So he did move himself forwards. That is therefore a double movement. So I agree. No try there. Kicks. I mean, these things happen. Owen Farrell, believe it or not, has the worst record of any of the current top kickers in the Six Nations. 76%. I think Sexton was second to last, just marginally ahead of him.
Is Greg Laidlaw, is he best?
He's up there. No, actually, it was actually a Frenchman. I can't remember who it was though, because obviously Morgan Parra's only just back in, so it's not him. It was someone else. But yeah, one of the Frenchmen at the time. So maybe he doesn't count anymore because maybe he wasn't playing. I can't remember who it was. But anyway,
and he's French.
When Owen decided he was taking that kick. Did you go, awesome, you've just missed two, but I feel like you've got this one? Or did you go, why the hell are you not getting Daly to take this? Be honest.
When it first came up, I was why the hell are you not getting Daly to do it? Once he kicked it, I was like, you legend, I never doubted you.
Absolutely. I mean, look, brilliant. I mean, I said to Lucy, said exactly that. That's my wife, by the way. Yes, she does watch the rugby with me, but she's getting good at it. She's learned a huge amount from the pod. And that's what this is about.
TV.
No, getting good at it.
Well done, Luce.
Prior to us starting this podcast, she barely knew what rugby was. Now she advises on tactics, and she's right. Like the stuff she comes up with.
That would annoy me.
I'm like, that's really annoying because I'm going to mention that in the next pod, but I'm not going to say that it was you that told me. She's enjoying it, which is great. Because in the past I had to find reasons to make her leave the house because I couldn't have her, doing the cleaning or hoovering or something while I'm watching. So now she insists on sitting down to watch the game too, which is cool.
That's incredibly noble of you to allow that.
To allow her to do the washing and the cleaning. She does other things. She does other things too. Has a real job and everything. But anyway, moving on before we get in trouble.
Well, mate, what do you mean we?
Yeah, no, you'll mostly get blamed.
Probably.
Yeah, so France up next at HQ. I'm not worried.
I can't see us losing.
No.
After today's performance, I am so impressed by that performance. The defence was, to me, that's the best I've seen England defend.
Yeah.
I just couldn't believe how good it was. I mean, the Irish have got some strong, amazing runners. Stockdale on the wing. I was like, who's this piece of crap? Like, he's one of the best players out there.
Bottom line,
completely outclassed him.
Ireland didn't know what to do. England had a little bit of everything, and Ireland had no answer. And they didn't. We talked about it before. We don't want to get sucked into playing Ireland's game. We want to play our own game, and we want to force them to change their game plan because of what we're doing. We want to be disciplined. We want to put pressure on them. We want to take opportunities. We want to be physical. England were all of those things and more. They made it impossible for Ireland to have a game plan, and they forced Ireland to try and play their style, the England style of rugby, and that's playing into your hands, for any opposition. And as a result, things, as we saw, went very much our way in terms of the result. But in spite of it, seemed like everything was against us. So I believe some awful decisions from the ref that shouldn't have gone against us.
I think awful is a bit.
It's the word I'm going to use. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, stick with it. If we win by 12 points, we can say whatever the hell we want.
Exactly.
Do you know the start of the half made me laugh, which made me realise perhaps the Irish think they've got the ref on his side, is when Bundy Aki ran into his own player and put his hand up to look at the ref, almost asking for a penalty or something. I'm like, that's too far. That's taking the piss.
I'm glad you brought that up. If you run into your player, right, he's in front of the ball, therefore, is it not an accidental offside? Or have the rules changed?
Running into your own player is not offside.
But it should be. You're offside. You're in front of the ball and you're touching it.
Right? No.
It always was at school.
If you run into your own player, it can be obstruction, but it didn't actually interfere with play.
I'm sure when I was playing, it was called accidental offside.
No, because that player he's not got the ball.
No, but he's come in contact with it from an offside position.
No, he's come in contact with a player
who has the ball, and does that? I mean, it definitely used to be accidental offside if you ran into your own player.
It could be.
Someone look this up. Someone look this up and tell us. Someone look this up and tell us what's going on here. I need to know. What is this accidental offside thing that I remember from my youth, and why does it not apply anymore? I'm sure the rules have just been changed, and fair enough. Like I'm not suggesting that it should be a penalty, but or a free kick rather for an accidental offside. But anyway,
I don't. Yeah, it wasn't.
You never did contact. I mean, you played in contact matches. You were just never in contact.
That's because I was just carving through defences.
Yeah, was it?
Much like Slady today.
Henry Slade, you have he's clearly been listening to the pod and gone, I'm going to show you guys.
Yeah.
And if that is the case, then I'll put my hands up and I'll say you're welcome. If what I said gave you that missing ingredient to bring that performance out, I'm proud to say you are welcome.
Oh, that's again. Once again, you have been a noble man on this pod. You let your wife clean, and you're willing to say to Slade, "Well done." I thought he was going to get a hat trick. I'd have loved that.
I mean,
I thought he was going to get a hat trick right at the end. He didn't need it. He didn't need it. Two will do.
Two will do very, very nicely. I want to talk more, and I'm trying to think of stuff, but I'm buzzing, and it's not coming to me. And I know that as soon as we end this, as good as it's been, there'll be 1,000 more things that we think of. But we've got the midweek episode. We can digest this properly at that point. But yeah, for now, guys, thank you for joining us. We've had a lot of positive feedback from you guys about these semi-live episodes. Hopefully, this one hasn't disappointed. I'm sure the result won't have done, assuming that you are English, listening to the England Rugby Pod. And we'll, as I mentioned, we'll be back midweek to do a little bit more, maybe slightly more in-depth analysis of this game, and obviously talk about France, who we've got at home next weekend. Another big game, I think. To be fair, France, if France can sort out whatever happened in the second half last night and put in two halves like their first half last night. That changes things a little bit. So another big game ahead. And roll on the Grand Slam, boys. I know you can do it. We believe you can do it. And of course, next stop after this competition is the World Cup final.
Yeah, baby.
But just before we leave you, though, as always, please, if you like what you listen to, go on to iTunes, rate us, review us, let us know what you think. If you've got any questions for us, if there's anything you want us to discuss, email us, englandrugbypod@gmail.com, or you can reach out to us on Twitter or Facebook at englandrugbypod. We love hearing from you guys. We really appreciate the kind of the support you give us. And yeah, the main thing is just to spread the love. Let's try and get as many people involved and listening and joining the conversation as we can before the big day at the end of the year. And we will catch you guys midweek.